And welcome to another season series, not sure what we're going to call it, but our second instalment of 50 Shades in Grey. Thank you for all your support last year. We ended up at number 36, apparently, in the Spotify charts, which was a massive achievement for the podcast itself. I'm not sure if that's 36 just in my street, in my town, or wherever it is, but I'd take 36 anyway in any list. I'm joined here today by my son, Zach. Hey, mate, how you doing?
Not bad, thank you. Thank you for having me. Now
Oh,
you're so
always
big. My appearances are coming thick and thin.
so big. Do you know what? It's been like, as you know, because you're here with me most of the time. It's been a lot of hard work doing it, but I've really enjoyed it, and it is just nice that it's been received. And we're always looking for new content, new people to come on. So that's the most challenging part, I think, is just making it relevant that people can listen to stuff. And on that's what today's about, which is why I've got you here. Just before Christmas, I was going on a night out and I was on the train, reasonably busy on the Elizabeth line, as you know, going up to town, sitting there, guy comes on, sits next to me and starts playing his music out of his phone. And it just made me laugh, actually, in terms of, like, it's one of the situations you think, am I just getting old now? Is this just me? Because I just thought it was a sort of slightly strange behaviour. So anyway, I thought, do you know what? I'm just going to do a little post on it and throw it out there. So
Yeah.
I took one quite discreetly. The guy weren't in it. I wouldn't do that to anyone at all. And I just put something on there like, I just said what it was. Guy got on train, play this music. Does this bother anyone else? And by a million miles, it's the most successful post I've ever done. All this hard work that I put in and thought into music and backgrounds and everything else, and I do something like that, and it resonates with people. And the comments have been completely varied, actually, I've got to say. A lot who sort of agree with me. And I need to explain at this juncture, it wasn't that I had a problem with it. It was, I just found it odd. You're here today.
Yeah.
Because you're going to represent, obviously, a younger generation in terms of getting a younger person's point of view as well on the subject, in case it is just me getting old. And I'm going to go over some of the comments that we've had from both sides as well. A lot
like
have been
reading mean tweets. That'd be quite a good pod, just about you, just reading mean tweets.
Actually, some of them have been like bordering on a bit nasty, but I do find them funny.
That'd be quite good. I'd like to watch that.
Yeah, it's been quite funny, actually, some of the comments, and I've tried to reply to everyone, but it's got to the stage where there was so many.
Really? Thank you.
I couldn't keep up with it. So anyway, and first of all, we're going to go through the definition of wrong, because I was thinking about this as well. Okay.
You've been really diving into it, haven't you?
I've been, yeah, I have, because I was thinking, who says what's right and who says what's wrong? So by that analogy, there could be any behaviour that could be kind of justified. But so we're going to go along the premise, I thought, of generally, if something is wrong, it's when you're in the minority of thought. Still doesn't technically, I don't think, make you wrong, because you're going to have your own beliefs and your own opinion, and everyone's beliefs and opinions, as we're brought up to understand, and I do, it should be respected. You may not agree with them, but you should try and see a point of view of it's their opinions and that's how they feel. So I'm kind of going along the lines of being like, not so much in the wrong, but is going against sort of what most people would find acceptable behaviour.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the norm.
Yeah, but the norm changes all the time, doesn't it? The norm used to be you was allowed to smack your kids, and 40 years later, lo and behold, surprise, surprise, that's probably not the best thing to be doing. You know, when I was at school, teachers used to throw things at you. Can't do that anymore. So
only on Fridays.
Not on Friday. So the norm, changes with time. So I don't even think you can say the norm. I just think it's more or less like what most people think. If there was 9 people in a room that had an opinion and one person didn't, they're in a minority. So we'll go with that, minority and majority. Okay. So first of all, what are your thoughts on generally the situation?
Well, I don't think there'd be, sorry to let you down, but I don't think there'd be a big difference in opinion in terms of the younger generation. My personal opinion, which I think would be reciprocated by most, is that it's just a bit. It doesn't annoy me when people do it. You get it occasionally. The most common situation is people just playing either TikTok or videos or YouTube out loud on their phones on the train, which, especially at peak times, it is just a bit weird, to be honest. You're just like,
Yeah,
just put headphones in. But the one I find the most annoying, which I think is wrong, is where you'll be coming home sometimes and you'll get people walking with huge speakers blasting music. Like, really, it's usually like proper drum and bass or like house, and I just don't think it's. I don't know. Sometimes I think it can be quite intimidating, especially if you've got kids on the train. I just think that's wrong. I disagree with that. And obviously some lyrics, um, if it has like swear words in and stuff, then I don't think that's appropriate. But in terms of playing, to the actual point, playing music out your phone or speaking with it on loudspeaker, which bloody your mum does, grandma does, like, I just think it's, why would you do it? I just think it's so weird, especially how much technology there is nowadays. I mean, you can go on Amazon or bloody Temu these days and get some Bluetooth headphones for £2 probably. So I don't get why people do it, but I wouldn't say it's wrong. I think it depends on the content that you're playing.
unsocial behaviour.
Yeah, well, was that one a few of the comments? Unsocial behaviour. I don't think it's unsocial because if you go on a train, everyone's on their phones. That's the definition of well, I say that, is that unsociable now? I don't know, but I'd say that's more unsociable than just playing stuff out loud. But yeah, I think it's just odd when people
Okay,
do
so
it.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here.
Yeah,
Okay, a little bit because because of being fair. Say a guy gets on a train with a
yeah,
guitar, obviously a busker, and starts playing.
yeah,
Is that any different?
yeah. I see what you mean. What if someone just breaks out into song? Well, but a busker's.
Basically, sometimes, not often, they do it on trains, I've got to say. But you know what? If a busker gets on, just starts playing music, trying
Only
to
if
earn a
he's
bit of
half
money.
decent. If not, I'd want him to shut up. It's like when people were the let's say the some people have said that's acceptable. What about when you go those? If people know in the city, they'll know what I mean by this. You get those Thursdays or Wednesday nights that clash with the West Ham game, and you coming home and you get all the fans coming up, and you know it's that time when they're all singing "Irons" on the train. I class that as annoying. Like, I think it's funny, but I think most people like, you'd have a shock if you're not from here and you're like, oh my god, what's going on? You're visiting London, you just see all these like guys and like women's like
Okay,
shouting
but
"Irons,"
if
but that's
again,
annoying.
but yeah, that may be annoying. But going back to the in terms of the majority, if there's 30 of them on the train and there's 3 people that find it annoying, going down the analogy of that, they're sort of they've got the majority of game is kind of acceptable behaviour then.
Yeah, but then I guess they're all involved in it. Where on the
Yeah.
train, if you're just one person playing videos or scrolling out loud, which to be fair, it does happen quite a lot. You'll get it quite a lot, but it's just people on their phones just scrolling and have it really bad. It's so odd.
The situation I was referring to, the guy was just playing music.
Yeah, no, I know. Right,
Yeah,
yours.
yeah, it was just music. It was a whole song. What I do also think is irrelevant, which a lot of people have made comments on as well, is your own taste in music. Because if you think it's okay if you like the music, you can't then think it's not okay if you don't like it, because that's not whether it's unsociable behaviour. You're just going on music taste, and everyone's taste in music, as we well know, is completely different. So you
Yeah,
can't. It's either got to be like okay to do it, but you can't go, well, it's only okay if I like the
yeah,
music.
I know what you mean. But there's always going to be different scenarios because that's like saying if it's Christmas time and then someone blasts sort of a massive Christmas song out speaker and everyone's going to be feel a bit cheerful probably and then not mind it as much if you're playing that on the train full blast and I might have a little sing song. But I don't know, just normal people just playing on the train, like going to work or coming home when everyone's on the way and they're just scrolling meaninglessly. Yeah, I don't see the point as such in that. I
The
think it's just a bit. It's a little bit annoying for people, especially if being at work all day. You just don't want to be listening to aggravating videos or even to music that's playing. It's just if everyone done that, then the train would be a bloody pain in the arse, wouldn't it? If everyone done that on the train out their iPhones or Samsungs or whatever they've got.
well, probably if everyone did it, you wouldn't notice it anyway. That's
Are
the
you
difference.
joking? Of course you would. What in each carriage, everyone blasting music out on their phones full pelt.
But it would become a stage where you wouldn't be able to hear anything apart from what you were playing because everyone was actually doing the same thing.
Absolutely not. No.
It'd be chaos. It would be chaos.
Yeah, but I would hear everything. It depends what you're playing. If you're playing a instrumental piece, you're telling me you're not going to hear someone next to you who's banging out some opera or drum and bass full pelt. Yeah, I just think it's what I just don't get it. I mean, there's bigger problems going on, so I don't let it affect me. But I just think, come on, what are you doing? Just
So
put headphones in.
the other thing that was hit back at me again on this post was back in the day when we were younger as well, sort of teens, more teens than 20s actually. There was like sort of these boom boxes, which were basically just great big stereos. And you used to sort of carry them around on your shoulder and like play sort of, at the time, it was mostly sort of rap, whatever it may be, playing out of, you would play that. The only difference I said about that is that was always in open spaces. And I think there is
Yeah,
a
it's
difference.
different when you're in a train on closed space. If you're doing it in the station, it doesn't matter because sound can travel and it can
Disperse.
yeah. Where on a train, I just think it's not you have the right to do whatever you want, but it's sort of I don't know. There's an underlying sense of come on now, everyone's on the same page. I don't know. I just think it's one of those things. You just don't do it. And I think everyone's on the same page with that.
So I've seen it. I've saw this before when I was coming home. It was like on one of the evening trains. I'd been out on the night out, was coming home, and it was sort of further down the carriage. And the two guys nearly came to blows about it, and that's the problem with it. Because one of them was like, "Mate, come on, I don't want to listen to your music. Just put your headphones in or stop playing it." And the other guy was like, "Well, I'll do what I want." And then male egos get involved, and then it all gets a little
Yeah,
bit. And obviously the late train is always eventful anyway.
yeah, it is.
They're the other things. Like a lot of people came up to me and went, dude, just move. Stop sort of bitching about it. Just move. But then I think, well, if I'd have gone and sat next to him when he was doing it, I would have chosen another seat. But I was actually sitting there already. And I don't think there was any intention by him, I've got to say, to annoy me or be disrespectful in any way. I think to this guy, it was kind of a normal behaviour. It was sort of to him, it was
Yeah.
quite acceptable. Which
Yeah, to be fair, I don't think it's wrong. I just think it's one of those things that's a bit annoying. Like I'd say that happens the most on the train, and then people having phone calls where they just speak ridiculously loud. That's another thing that happens as much. But then that would probably be split as well. People going, do you have to really talk that loudly? Especially when they're having eventful conversations, you get a little bit thrown into it,
yeah,
and
you
then you
start
become
listening a little
defensive.
bit.
Yeah, I wonder what's going on there. But that's the same principle. But it's yeah, frankly, I guess you're right. It depends what they're playing and how annoying it is, what videos they're playing, because it's like I guess then, like you said, you can flip it again. With I've been in a few times where people have iPads and phones on out loud for their kids in the prams, but no one obviously moans about that. Probably because they'd rather that than the kids crying at full pelt, which is probably the worst sound you can get.
Well, this was one of the points I was going to make. Is it
Yeah,
okay that sort of you have kids watching their iPads with that? People are more,
yeah, I don't mind that, but that's more understanding
yeah.
of the
I
situation.
think people are more sensitive to that than they would be the guy. But it's interesting that so is like someone on the phone, because this was the other thing on the post as well, that a lot of people were going, and I can't stand people having full blown conversations
Yeah, it
either
is a bit
on
annoying.
speaker, but even when they're not on speaker.
Yeah, they talk so loud.
But how is that different just to two people on the same train having a loud conversation or having a conversation?
It's not really, but just on the phone when people just talk excessively loud, it's a bit odd. But it doesn't annoy me. It's just a bit odd.
I don't even, a few years, well, it's a good few years back, there was a comedian that used to do sort of like a character based on that. I think it was Dom Jolly, where he used to have this big phone and he used to go to public places and do, it was like almost sort of an early Instagram thing that he used to
Yeah.
do. And sort of used to pick up this phone and just scream, he'd say, hello! But he'd do it in the middle of a cinema when everyone's watching the film.
God.
And funny enough, you know, you laughed about it at the time because it was sort of a take on the society, but that's what it's become. Like you say, you know, the amount of people now that hold their phones like this, I don't know if it's because they're worried about, you know, stuff in the phone, getting to their brains apparently, but they'll have full on conversations where you can hear them talking and the other person talking. And that for me, that drives me nuts as well. Because if I answer the phone on the train, I kind of want to keep my conversation to myself. So I
Yeah.
tend, if I do answer the phone, because sometimes you need to, I do try and talk quietly,
Yeah.
which is difficult for me to do anyway, to be honest.
Yeah, you talk quite loud. Yeah, your voice projects. Yeah, no, I think it's just one of the things, like I said, when you're on a train, it's quite close and it's close and comfortable. And I just think yeah, I don't know. I had the same conversation with a few of the boys in my office, actually, a few of the guys, but it was actually about eating on the train. A couple of them were saying, I don't think you should be allowed to eat on the train.
I do that. I mean, not regularly, but you know, classic. You go out for a few drinks and you get in the last train home, and you've gone out early, so you haven't eaten, so you grab something to eat on the train on the way home. It's
Yeah,
sort of eating where you can. I get it. But I don't. Then I won't sit near other people because I don't want people watching me eat because that's not a pretty sight. And you
yeah,
know, I don't want to make them feel uncomfortable. But it's
yeah.
when you see the drunk people on the train,
No,
which
that's where it stemmed from. And then it got to generally, they're like, I don't think people should eat because, like, litter, it's not sanitary. Also, you have then the smells, then maybe some people are allergic to certain stuff. So, and if it's like close and when it gets really busy, then do you want
yeah.
someone eating right next to you? So, mm,
But a couple of the comments that came back were from people from different, obviously from different places, and I think it was Philadelphia. One of a guy or a woman, can't remember which one, said about it's actually illegal in their state. You're not allowed to do it anyway, like play music on the I think it was a tram he was talking about.
really?
Yeah, and saying like it is actually in some places it's actually illegal to do it. That you're not actually allowed to do it. But I thought the whole conversation around it. I mean, a lot of people were going backwards and forwards, having little arguments on the post. Actually, it was quite amusing. Some were like, "Well, lighten up. It's you know, it's something that people do," and I didn't know whether, but more and more people are actually doing it. You know, whether they don't want to listen to headphones, they don't. You know, maybe they're worried about their hearing or whatever it may be, sticking stuff
Yeah.
in their ears. But it seems to be a more and more common behaviour. So you're saying, you know, for you as a younger person, you kind of find it odd behaviour.
Yeah, 100%. Not the norm.
It's definitely not the norm, no. But I thought we'd catch up today, and just discuss this for our followers. So, guys, I'd love your opinions on it, actually, and you know how you feel about it. Is it something that you find acceptable now because everything is changing and everything's changing quick? Is this, you know, in 10 years' time, like Zach said, is everyone going to be doing this? Is everyone just going to be playing their phones sort of full blast where you can't hear yourself think, or will it all, once everyone's playing, it will all just sort of go into white noise anyway and you'll be out of zoning on your own one? I don't know. I'm not sure. But listen, bud, thank you for joining me today for this little podcast. Good to see you. I will no doubt see you tomorrow. When
Yeah.
you're home tomorrow, we'll start our regime for the new year. Guys, thank you so much for joining and listening to 50 Shades in Grey. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you follow. You can catch all the posts and the posts that this is all about actually on my Instagram, which is davison.elliot, or go on to 50 Shades and Grey, which is on Instagram as well. And I'll put Zach's details on there as well. You can follow him and see all his posts that he does as well. But thank you for listening. We'll catch up. Take care. See you soon. Take care. Bye.